Thank you, Tommy, and good morning, everyone. We've been in Mongolia for 18 years. I first arrived there in 1997 and stayed for one primary reason. I don't think there's another mineral belt in the world hosting porphyry and epithermal gold deposits that is as unexplored. It sits in the southern part of Mongolia. It was covered by the blanket of communist Russia right up until the early 1990s and saw virtually no exploration. We have been one of the very few that have conducted extensive regional exploration in that belt, and we believe today that's resulted in the dreams that Warren mentioned, which is why we stay in this business, is to find that big one, and we think that we have that now with Buyan Hundy and Alton Nar in the southern part of the country. So let me get into that. We do believe we have a new district that we've discovered. We have two high-grade discoveries that I'll show you today. We also have an alliance with Teck Resources. Teck is our largest shareholder. They own about 12% of the country, and they give our shareholders exposure to porphyry copper exploration. Our gold projects are 100% held by our group, and Teck brings that porphyry copper side. In addition to myself, we have a host of technical people and administrative people that run this company. It's a small, tight team, but have been in Mongolia for a long time. So this is that belt I talked about, the Tian Shan Fold Belt, runs through southern Mongolia. It hosts the Oyu-Tolgoi deposit and a host of other large deposits along trend. In fact, many of you may not be aware, but there's over 2 million ounces of gold produced by TSX-listed companies from deposits in this area. Kinross further north in Siberia, but in Mongolia have Centerra. You now have 700,000 ounces a year coming out of Rio Tinto's Oyu-Tolgoi mine. And as you continue that belt through China into Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, you see a number of other world-class deposits. We focused on this area primarily in 2009, have carried out millions of dollars of regional exploration using satellite imagery and stream sediments to discover what I'm about to show you. This southern part of Mongolia has seen an immense amount of infrastructure development in the period since I first arrived. All those rails and mines you see didn't exist when I arrived in 1997. All the rails and roads built to the border are new. So it's been a exponential growth in this area, and still hasn't seen the exploration that other major belts like this in the world have seen. In this small area of what we call the Edrin terrain, we hold 4 licenses, 7 new discoveries. Again, all that you see on the west side of the screen discovered by us through satellite down to Boot and Hammer. We have spent much of the last 4 years developing resources at Alton Nar, and just this March made our first discovery at Buyan Hundy in the south. That's about 20 kilometers between the two, and drilled our first holes and announced those in December of 2015. So it's high-grade gold at surface. We've traced it over 1.7 kilometers now. We do have another discovery on the license that we were aware of previously, and gold anomalies throughout that trend. So this is what we found in March. That's about a half a kilometer long. The deep purple is a volcanic host. Grab samples at surface. Everything we picked up was anomalous. I've never seen as much visible gold in my career. Samples running multi-ounce up to 4,300 grams per ton. We did some trenching. It suggested not only did we have high-grade veins, but we had mineralized wall rock, and that's a real key for bulk sampling, obviously. And with the drill results I'm about to show you, you'll see how that gold carries. So this was our first set of holes. 15 holes have been drilled, shallow, but that's a 400-meter strike length. Those holes are pretty well spaced. Everywhere we drill, we intersect parallel zones of gold, in most cases very high grade, in some cases up to 5 ounces over a meter. Again, if you look down the right hand of your screen there, you'll see that we're not smearing these grades. Everything has some anomalous gold in it. You're seeing 1, 2 to 5 grams adjacent to these multi-ounce intervals. You can go from the far left where you see 2 meters of 10 grams, a meter of 25, and then into the sweet spot at striker zone where we're commonly seeing 15 to 35 meters of 5 to 10 grams. We stepped out about 60 meters along striker and saw the exact same interval actually widening and bifurcating at depth. Again, you can see those grades along the right-hand side, up to 5 ounces over a meter, but bordered by 4, 6, 2 grams. Very, very high-grade discovery with bulk sample potential. Just announced metallurgy on this about 2 weeks ago, 99% recovery in gravity and leach on the high grade, and also 92% recovery on the low grade, 0.7 gram material. So exceptional recoveries. From an upside perspective, if you look at that top right, that's resistivity. High resistivity goes with the alteration package. We have flanking younger sediments and volcanics all around this mineralized zone. Geophysics is indicating targets carrying undercover in every direction. We've stepped out 700 meters and 1.2 kilometers long strike and are grabbing samples at 7 grams at surface. The system is free gold, no sulfide. There is a hematite associated convection system, which suggests a very large hydrothermal system. So all the indications of size to go along with very high grades. We own 100% of this. As I mentioned, grade drives this. We have a good trend. We have excellent metallurgy. Everything we've tested is within 50 meters of surface, open at depth, and we have regional scale targets. Stepping back, Alton Nar has been our flagship where we've been working for the last 4 years. We've periodically been doing exploration outside of that, hence the discovery of Buyan Hundy. But we had already established a very significant mineralized system at Alton Nar. This is intermediate sulfidation, so more lead, zinc, pyrite associated with it. Somewhat lower metallurgy as a result, so you get about 88% of the gold in a leach. But a very high-grade system again. This is one of the 2 of 18 targets that we've drilled off. That's about a half a kilometer long, cored by material that's running 10 to 20 meters of 5 to 10 grams at surface. These are the 2 areas I mentioned. We've drilled off Union North and Discovery Zone only in the top 150 meters. We've established about 250,000 ounces at 2 grams gold equivalent. Tremendous upside potential. We see a 1 million ounce potential here in that top 150 meters as we get into more drilling. But in the meantime, we'll be more focused on Buyan Hundy, where we see higher grades and superior metallurgy. Mongolia has seen a flurry of news stories in the last few months. Oyu Tolgoi received approval for its $4.4 billion financing in December. This is led by a consortium of about 15 world and commercial banks. CIBC is involved in that, Export Development Canada, IFC, I could go on, but a very well-supported financing, perhaps the biggest in the industry last year. National Bank of Canada bought an interest in one of the top Mongolian banks in December. Canadian government is investing about $50 million into extractive industry projects, mainly looking at mining industry policy and implementation. Centerra Gold has had great success there with the Boro mine and is looking to replicate that now with the Gat-Cert mine, which they just received approval for. You have a reduced gold royalty rate to drive investment in the gold sector. And I think it's important to recognize Mongolia is a small country, 3 million people, desperately needs foreign investment in the mining industry to make that country work, and the government gets that. And you're seeing improvements as a result of that in the legislation jurisdictions. Just quickly, we have an alliance with Teck Resources. We have been the leading explorer in this belt of rocks since 2005. Teck recognized that and has come in through equity placements at a premium to our market annually to fund further copper exploration in this belt. Moving forward, we expect to be drilling off an initial resource at Buyan Hundy and trying to get a handle on size through regional drilling in the first or second quarter of this year. We'll move into mining license application work on both of those. We've been through this in Mongolia before. We've secured mining licenses for other projects. We think it's in the interest of our shareholders to do that earlier, so that's something we'll put up front. And we'll also continue our regional exploration with Teck. So why Ardene? We talked about this earlier, Tommy did. It's that point in the cycle. You look for companies that have just about to develop projects in the resource stage, and there couldn't be a better time in the cycle to do that. We have 100% ownership, no underlying royalties, joint ventures, exceptional growth potential in both of these projects, grade, excellent metallurgy, an experienced team, perhaps the most experienced team in Mongolia. And we're right next door to China, which gives us advantages of infrastructure and mining equipment. So I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're here all day. If you have any questions, please come by the booth and meet us there. Thank you.